Our commencement speakers this morning, Len and Cherylann Gengel, founders of the Be Like Brit Foundation. It's a privilege for me to introduce them to you. Cherylann and Len of Rutland, Massachusetts, created the Be Like Brit Foundation, a nonprofit organization established in memory of their daughter, Brittany, who was killed in the 2010 earthquake in Haiti. Brittany was a 19-year-old who traveled to Haiti with students from Florida's Len University on a journey of hope to work with Haitian orphans. It was her compassion for others that brought Brit to Haiti. One day before a magnitude 7.0 earthquake rocked that small, poverty-stricken country and claimed an estimated 230,000 lives. The day of the quake, Tuesday, January 12th, Brittany had been visiting an orphanage where she and other students met the children they had traveled so far to help. Just a few hours later, Brittany, 3 of her fellow students, and 2 Len professors were killed, crushed in the rubble of their hotel. Her body was recovered 33 days later, but Brittany's dream did not die with her. Shortly before the earthquake, she sent a text message to her family. It said, "They love us so much here, and everyone is so happy. They love what they have, and they work so hard to get practically nowhere. Yet they are so appreciative. I want to move here and start an orphanage myself." Not long after losing their daughter, the Gengels established the Be Like Brit Foundation. The organization's mission is to serve the children of Haiti by establishing a safe and nurturing orphanage. The earthquake-proof Be Like Brit orphanage is currently home to 33 boys and girls. Please join me in welcoming this wonderful family as this year's commencement speakers, Len and Cherylann Gengel.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. I didn't expect that, so thank you. And good morning. I'm Cherylann, and I am proud mom of Brittany Gengel, and I'm co-founder of the Be Like Brit Foundation. I'd like to thank President Cowan, the Board of Trustees, the faculty and staff here at Middlesex Community College for inviting us to speak this morning. We are truly humbled that you would choose us to speak on this incredibly fabulous day. Before my husband takes the microphone away from me, let me be the first to congratulate the graduates here. Congratulations to all of you, to your family and friends. I can only imagine how hard you've worked to get to this point today, and you should be really proud of yourselves. Now I'd like to introduce the other co-founder of the Be Like Brit Foundation, my husband, but more importantly, the proud father of Brittany Gengel, my husband, Len.
Bonjour, comment est? En femme? Bon travail. Good job, good job. Thank you so much, President Cowan, trustees, all this wonderful faculty and staff, and to you. Cherylann and I, as she said, we're just honored to be the speakers here today. You know, 30 years ago, I sat where you sat, in the arena, at a junior college graduation. I went to Becker and Leicester and Worcester, Becker Junior College. And the guy got up to speak, and I said, "Oh God, how long is he going to take? I want to get my diploma and get out of here." So I promise you I won't be too long. But you know, 30 years later, I still remember what he had to say. And it was about his aunt, and it was about taking the road less traveled. And today, 30 years from my junior college graduation, I get to speak to you. What an accomplishment. You should be so, so proud of yourself. And you know, in life, nothing prepares you for the horrific tragedy that happened to Cherylann and I and our family. You see, our daughter Brittany wanted to go on this mission trip. It was called the J term at Len University, a 3-week course. She could have went to Europe to learn how to cook. She could have went to the Caribbean on board a ship and taken a 3-week class at sea, but she decided to go help the poorest of the poor in the poorest nation in the Western Hemisphere. How proud we were of her. And she knew it was going to be a life-changing moment. And for us at 4:53 on January 12, 2010, our lives changed forever. And then 300,000 people perished in 20 seconds. But 36 hours after the tragedy, as we were just grasping for straws, we got a call. And it was from Vice President Phil Reardon of Len University. And he said, I want to be very clear. We've rescued Brittany and 2 of the other girls. We have them on a helicopter. They're on their way to Port-au-Prince Airport. And you will have her in your arms tonight in Fort Lauderdale at 11 p.m. And the party began. The jubilation was incredible. I'm the youngest of 8. There's 32 in our immediate family. We had 100 people at the house. The media went with us on the plane. And sadly, when we got to Florida, the president of the college looked at us with his eyes swelled almost shut, saying we had bad intelligence. We did not get your daughters. So, as most parents know, it's your worst nightmare to lose a child. But in our case, we lost our daughter twice in 48 hours, which is just unfathomable. We gathered for the next 33 days, and with the help of Senator Kerry, Congressman McGovern, 10 days after the earthquake, I traveled into Haiti, thanks to Secretary of State Clinton, along with some other parents, and we went to the Hotel Montana, where our daughter perished. We saw the recovery efforts in place. We saw the respect and dignity that was given. We prayed, we cried, and we hoped. And we hoped for a miracle to happen. And at day 33, it wasn't the miracle that we wanted, but having traveled to Haiti 45 times in the last 2.5 years, I can tell you it was a miracle. Our daughter's body was recovered. And we brought her home for a proper Christian burial. It took 39 days, and we are so grateful to not only our U.S. government, our U.S. Army, and all the people that were involved that fateful day. But Brittany left us a gift, as you heard Dr. Cowan say. The children love us so much, and they're all so happy. The people love what they have. They work so hard to get nowhere, yet they're all so appreciative. I want to move here and start an orphanage myself. That sense of purpose, that gift, gave Cherylann and I the strength to get out of bed every day. It gave us the strength to decide we were going to build Brit's orphanage. We were going to finish her dream. And then something miraculous happened. Over the next 2 or 3 months, so didn't the rest of the world. You see, during our crisis, for 14 days, we were on national and international TV every single day, sometimes 2 and 3 times a day, because we would do anything to foster the troops to help the people of Haiti. And $250,000 was sent to us by complete strangers, by thousands of people. And we looked at each other and said, we have to finish Brit's dream. And then September 24th of 2010, my oldest son Bernie, who's out back hawking books, by the way, my son Bernie, architect Paul Fallon and Pastor Lexa Dan Edme traveled to Haiti, to Grand Guave, the town Brit was supposed to travel to after the earthquake. And we felt, as parents, we wanted to finish her journey. So we wanted to go to Grand Guave. And Pastor Lex found us a piece of land that sets up on a hill, just like the Hotel Montana where Brit perished. And it was just absolutely beautiful. And we purchased that land that weekend, and we started to design the orphanage. And those of you that know construction, as a builder of 30 years and the architect, we tend to fight. And Paul just decided to start drawing the orphanage. And I let him finish because I'm a nice guy. And he showed me his nice design. I said, that's beautiful, but the orphanage will be shaped in the letter B for Brittany. And that's what we built. It's 19,000 square feet, symbolic of her 19 years on this earth. It's designed for 33 boys and 33 girls. And not to correct Dr. Cowan, but today we have 31 living there. It has 6 missionary rooms, which we call Brissionary rooms, after our Brittany. It has an 1,150 square foot medical clinic that Harvard Medical Disaster Relief, Dr. Greg Ciatone, his wife Amalia, and Professor Susan Johnson from Commencement Community College are our medical directors and staff the medical facility with volunteers. We have the same seismic standards as San Francisco. We went to the poorest nation in the Western Hemisphere, and we actually said we're going to design and build to the same standards as the USA. And that was a challenge. On November 24th, we drove a box truck, my wife and I and our 2 sons, from Boston to Miami. And in that box truck was everything we needed times 2 to actually build Brit's orphanage. You have to understand, the country is crumbled. There is nothing there. So how were we going to build this orphanage? And that was the assessment I did in September. And down on our 3-day travel to get through that first holiday without our beautiful daughter, we stopped at every family's house on the East Coast that lost their daughter with Brit. And we visited with them and had a beautiful, beautiful time. And we put that truck on a ship down in Miami and put it into Haiti. On December 23rd, 2010, my oldest son, Bernie, my nephew, Ross, and a Haitian American from Athol, Massachusetts named Gama Perrison, we landed in Port-au-Prince. And we traveled out to Grand Guave, and for the next 3 weeks, we set up camp. In that truck had everything we needed to get started, including the wood and toilet seat for a latrine, because we had nothing. And then we started to build. On January 9th, we had a beautiful Susan Warnick from Channel 5 came down, and we had a beautiful, beautiful groundbreaking. And at that point, we started hiring somewhere between 75 and 125 workers. Over the next 2 years, it took me 39 trips in and out of Haiti to build Brit's orphanage. And along that journey, we would leave the house at 5 a.m. and get to Haiti somewhere between 5 at night and 8 at night. So that's how long it took to get there. And we would do this 20 times in 2011 and then 19 times in 2012. And I have to tell all of you, on January 4th, 2013, my wife and I, with 70 of our family and friends, 40 from Boston, 15 from Newark and New York, and 15 from Miami, flew into Port-au-Prince. And under 3 embassy guards, because we had U.S. Congressman Jim McGovern with us, with 3 embassy guards and 6 Port-au-Prince policemen, the 70 of us headed out to Grand Guave, Haiti. And we had an incredible dedication weekend. One of the proudest moments of our lives as parents was to see our priest that married us who baptized our children in First Communion, dedicate Brit's orphanage, our parish priest, our Haitian pastor, who we worked with for 2 years because we are an ecumenical orphanage encompassing all faiths. And we had our Haitian priest, and then one of our program directors who's a reverend in the United Church of Christ, and also a professor at Becker College. So we had 5 clergy on the outdoor chapel dedicating Brit's orphanage, and it was so symbolic of bringing everyone together, and we had a wonderful weekend. And then on January 6th, on our way out of Port-au-Prince, we stopped at the Hotel Montana where Brit perished, so everybody could say a final prayer where Brittany took her last breath. And then we went home. And 4 days later, Cherylann and I and Christine Hervey Musser, our USA director, who's out back, we were back in Haiti. And we started to work on the guiding principles, a 37-page living document which mimics the United Nations rights of a child, or the dignity of a child, with Brit's spirit combed in. And we hired a professor from SUNY Plattsburgh in sociology. He did his thesis in Rwanda on orphan intake. And we sat with our Haitian director, our USA director, our program director, and we worked all week. And then on that Friday, our team went out. And they went into the villages of Grand Guave and Tigouave, and they talked to pastors and priests and looking for true orphans. And at about 5 o'clock that Friday, in walks the door a very old Haitian woman with a piti, tiny peanut of a boy. And she was the aunt. This little boy had lost his father in a moto accident and mother in the earthquake. And his name was Shasha, or Curvins to be formal. And the aunt went into the office with our program director, Cherylann, and I were playing with little Shasha, and we're in the dining area of Brit's orphanage. And all of a sudden our maintenance man, Cupidon, who's worked for me for 2.25 years, he comes out, and in perfect English, he looks at little Shasha and he says, "Be like Brit's first son." And my wife and I turned and looked and could not believe our eyes, could not believe what we heard. The reality of having that text message, having that from Brittany, and 3 years later, almost to the day, this little boy is in Brit's orphanage. And his first words to me were, "Grand goût, I'm hungry. And we gave him some peanut butter crackers. We hugged him and just loved this little boy. And then he had to go home. And then on Monday of Brit's birthday, her 23rd birthday, little Shasha was our first orphan at Be Like Brit. It was an amazing accomplishment. My poor wife will not tell you this story, but I will share a personal story with you. Cherylann was in labor with Brittany for 60 hours, 2.5 days. She pushed for 3 hours and 40 minutes and broke her tailbone. Brittany was plunged out of poor Cherylann, and I became very good friends with the doctor over that 2.5 days. And she said, "Len, kneel down here. Watch, I want you very close." And she just started to suck the amniotic fluid out of Brittany's mouth. And then these big blueberry eyes opened up, and she took her first breath. And I watched life begin, and it was the most amazing feeling I ever had in my life. And I would tell Brit that story every year on her birthday. And then I went and would say to her, after 4 heart surgeries, I would say, "Brit, my last breath will be of your life beginning." It was beautiful. It was what life is all about. And you know, ladies and gentlemen and graduates, when we looked in Shasha's eyes, I saw Brit. I saw that beautiful smile. I saw her hugging little Shasha. I felt her love in that room. I felt her presence and saw her in those eyes. And today we have 31 of Brittany's children at Be Like Brit. Many, many, many people have asked us privately, where did you get the strength? Where did you get the wherewithal to do this? And it's the three virtues of faith. I promise I'll be done in a minute. It's those three virtues. It's those three virtues of faith, hope, and love. Faith in God is irrevocable. Hope that we will spend an eternity with our daughter. Love of family, love of friends, love of community, love of country, love of Haiti has gotten us through every single day to move forward. I would like to close with one quote from one of the greatest coaches ever, Vince Lombardi, with the little Len Gengelism. And I really, really, really hope you remember this 30 years from now. Everybody in life gets knocked down. But it's how you pick yourself up that defines you as a human being. Thank you. God bless you. God bless you.